All right, so I think one of the most important things you'll cover in this course, probably the most important thing that's actually useful to you outside of school, is the idea of managing money, which is why we were playing that gazillionaire game. It's the whole idea of money. All right? So money is hard to get, and when you do have it, you need to take good care of it. Right? So we need to hold on to that money as best we can, make sure we're spending it properly. We need to know how much we're spending, how much we're getting, right? How much we owe. We need to pay attention to all that stuff, right? Bonus, if anyone can recognize what this movie's from, or what referencing there. Anyone get my reference? Nobody? It's before your time, really. Terminator 2. It's a classic. All right. So in this case here, we're going to start off looking at the money situation. So generally when we're thinking about money, I'm sure that you may have seen some of this before. If it seems like this, you're confused by what we're doing, just stop me, all right, and ask a question. That's why you guys are in class here, and we can do that, all right? So the whole point is that when we talk about money, we usually use numbers, but we don't always use numbers, right? Sometimes we use words, and there's like nicknames for different types of money that we have. So things like a quarter or 3 dimes or however many cents you have, kind of thing. All right, so it's important to be able to switch between all those different things. So let's look at these 5 coins, and we're going to write down how we'd write the word, and how with the value, how would you write the number. Like how many different ways can we think of describing those different things? So let's start off with this guy right here. What's this one called? Nickel. Yeah. All right, so we have a nickel. How much is a nickel worth?
5 cents.
Okay, how do I write 5 cents?
5, and then you put a C and then a line through the C after the C.
Very good, like that. So that's one way of doing it, right? What's another way I could write 5 cents? Yep.
0, and then you put a decimal, and then another 0, and then 5.
Awesome.
And then the cent.
So instead of putting cents afterwards, you put it in this form, which is dollars, right? So if we're writing something in dollars, the dollar sign comes in front of the money. If we're writing something in cents, how many cents we have, we put the cent afterwards. Now, what do you think is the most common out of these 3? Othar?
I would say maybe the second.
You think this one here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you think, which one do you think?
The 5 cents. The first, yeah.
Nickel.
There? Or this one?
First one.
This one. Okay. So you might see this, where would you see something like that?
At a bank, maybe?
Okay, maybe like if you're, yeah, it could say 5 cents at a bank or
Nickel is more like a slang term for a cent.
yeah.
And for the last one, it would be like an account register, I guess. It would be a register.
Yeah, and you can see this in ads too. Like you can see it in advertisements too.
$9.99.
Yeah. The thing is, though, that this would be the one that's the most common is this one right here.
It is?
Yeah. You're going to see things with a dollar sign.
Oh, good.
All right, so the most common thing you're going to see is money with dollars in it. All right, so we covered the first one. Let's look at some of the other ones here. Which one's the quarter? That one or this one?
That one, I think so, right?
Yeah.
This one here. Okay, that's the quarter.
Yeah.
Why is it called a quarter?
Because it's a fourth.
Yeah, exactly. It's a fraction,
Yes.
right?
That's right.
It's a quarter of a dollar.
Yeah, it's a quarter of a dollar, exactly. So that one's named after the fraction that it is, right? So we don't call it a 25-cent piece, we call it a quarter, right? And the nickel, though, we don't call it a 20th, right? Even though as a fraction, that's what it would be. So the quarter is kind of unique that way. What's the value of a quarter? Yeah, go ahead, Lothar.
I guess it would be maybe 4 times.
So if this is 5 cents, right?
Oh, that would be 4, no?
This is 5. This one has the value there, 10.
Quarter would be 4.
A quarter is 1/4, right? But if you look at it, so it's a fourth of a dollar, right? So it is actually 25 cents, like this. But if you're thinking of a quarter like that, the reason why it's a quarter is because that fraction is the same as this.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? 1/4 is the same as 25 over 100. They're the same. It's called an equivalent fraction. But that's why it's called a quarter. Because it's a quarter of a dollar. So we have 25 cents. Now, so if I'm going to write that,
Sorry for the interruption. If you haven't submitted your attendance yet, can you please submit it at this time? Thank you.
do we have to do it in the afternoon too? Hold on. All right, while that's loading up. So if we're writing this in dollars and cents, how do we write 25 cents in dollars and cents? If the other one was, that one's 0.05.
I think that's right.
What there?
It would be 0.25.
Very good. Right? And we have to always remember, if we're doing it in dollars and cents, we're going to put our dollar sign out front. All right. What's that one called?
Dime. It's worth 10 cents.
Yeah, it's worth 10 cents. So I'm going to write that like this. 10 cents. How do I write 10 cents in dollars, or in dollars and cents? Yeah, Lothar?
0.10.
Yeah, 0.10. So when we're talking about money, sometimes when you're doing numbers, sometimes we don't put, if there's a 0 on the end, we don't put it. Like on a calculator, if you put in 0.10 on your calculator or on your phone, it would just shorten it to 0.1 because it doesn't know that you're talking about money. It just thinks you're talking about a number. But in money, it's important to have 2 decimal places with dollars and cents, right? And so we need our dollar sign out front as well. So we need to have 2 decimal places. So when writing in dollars, we need to always have 2 decimal places. All right. So we did our 5 cents. We've got our dime. We've got our quarter. What's this one called?
Loony.
Loony. Why is it called a loony?
Because it's worth $1.
It is worth $1. That's not why it's called a loony. Why is it called a loony? Yep. Yeah, it's the bird, right?
The bird's called a loony?
The bird is called a loon. That's the type of bird it is. Right? So that bird is a loon. And if you go to like camping up north of here, sometimes you'll see the loons. Not so much around here. But they make like a certain specific noise. Have you ever seen a loon before, Soraya? Yeah, they're not common around here. I think I've seen them maybe once or twice around here. Usually you have to go north to see them.
Up in Grundy, I was there a couple months ago.
Yeah, you definitely would see them there for sure. All right, so that's the loon, and it swims around. It's kind of a water bird, swims underwater. All right, and it is worth how much?
$1.
$1. How do I write that? How do I write $1?
Put a 1, and then you put a dollar sign in front of it.
Okay. Correct. I will put the 2 numbers because we always have decimal places, right? So I'll put the 2 zeros there. What about in cents? How many cents is $1? Yep.
100 cents is $1.
Okay. Awesome. So I'd go like this. All right, so I have a loony. It's 100 cents, or I can write it as dollars, 1.00. All right. So if this is called the loony, this one here must be the
Okay.
toonie.
So the bird's called a kenny. You have $12.45.
Okay, I'm going to write that out. So I'm going to do it the long way here by going like this. 12 and man, that's annoying, right?
I think it should be 12,
Dull hairs.
12.
So $12.45. So when I write that out, it makes it pretty clear to me why someone eventually switched to these numbers instead of writing like this.
Yep.
And in fact, these numbers, you know what language where these numbers come from?
English.
No,
Eh,
I think, I don't know, maybe Greek.
close.
Greek.
Not Greek.
France.
If we were doing numbers right now, if we had learned numbers from just Greeks or Romans, this number that would look like this.
What is that?
Oh yeah, Roman numbers.
Yeah.
I saw it on a clock once. ILV. GTA 5. That reminds me.
Right? That's Roman numerals. Our numbers,
So,
we don't like writing in Roman numerals because it's annoying. They don't work as well. They're confusing.
5?
V is 5, yeah. L is 50. Yeah.
I don't know, maybe Latin.
Latin and Roman is the same thing. Latin was an area, it's basically with it's like the name of the province that Rome is in,
Yeah.
in Italy. So Italy is made up of a bunch of different like areas, kind of like provinces in Canada, or states within a country. And Italy has the Latic area is yeah. No, so these are actually Arabic. These numbers are all from places like you've heard of Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan. No. Those were not the third world though.
Yeah, before the,
They were the center of the science and math universe. The smartest mathematicians and all the stuff we know about math, a lot of it came from those areas. So the numbers you still use today, that is Arabic. So when you go home or when you go out in the world, you're reading Arabic numbers. You're not reading necessarily Arabic letters, but the numbers are Arabic. All right? So that's an Arabic thing that you guys have learned. All right, so let's write this number using Arabic numerals. So $12.45. I'm going to write like this. $12.45. So there's my dollars, and there are my cents. All right. So have you guys already started this stuff here?
I finished that.
Yeah? All right. So if you want to go ahead, you can, and you can keep doing the stuff, the different lessons there. But if not, stick with me, and we'll go through it together. All right? So in this pile of money here, we had $12.45. So important to know how much money you have in your pocket. All right? Yes? You can help me with the next one? We're going to do the same thing that we did at the first part. It's going to be kind of faster because we did a bunch of the coins already. We skipped this coin, though. What is it called? We don't have it anymore.
That's a penny. It's still in the United States, though.
It is still in the United States. Even though it's actually worth more as scrap metal than it is in monetary value.
I have 100 of them. So.
There you go. Okay, so we have a penny. And if we write that in cents, what's the value of a penny?
1 cent.
Yes, very good. 1 cent. And how do we write that in dollars? Yep.
0.01.
Very good.
And you put the dollar sign in front.
Perfect. So I get the dollar sign. So all of these will have the dollar sign out front, like this. And this one's going to be with the cent sign at the back. All right, so the other ones we already did, right? This is called the what? Good. Does anyone know where there's a really big one of these? Really big. Like massively huge.
California.
No. Exactly, looks exactly like this one though.
I don't care that kind of thing.
It's like a solid 6.5 hour drive away.
That's further than Grundy.
Kind of like Ottawa. It's about the same distance as Ottawa almost. A place called Sudbury.
I was almost there. I was close to
A place called Sudbury. And there's a mine there where they mine nickel. And they have something called the Big Nickel. And it's basically just like a big statue. And it's like 20 feet tall. And it looks exactly like that. All right, let's go back to this. So our nickel, 5 cents, right? Which we wrote as like this. This we called a dime, 10 cents. And remember, we're always putting 2 decimal places in. This we call the quarter. So all the same stuff we had before for these ones. So it's easier to fill in. Our toonie was 200 cents. All right. And this one, we're just going to do it in dollars. We won't do it in cents for these ones here. All right, how many dollars? $5. So we're going to put our dollar signs up front. All right, Mateo, want to help me out there with some of the other ones here?
10.1.
Okay, like that. Should I add another one? Another 0 like this. Make sure we always have 2 zeros, right? What's the next one?
20.
Awesome. Next. Wicked. And the last one? Right. 100. Where I have 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10. All right, so that's my 40 plus 25. So when I add that, I'm actually just going to, if I'm doing it in my head, I'll do 40 plus 20. That gets me to 60 plus, yes, plus 5. So I get to 65. Awesome. So I'm going to write it out, our amount. Now, there's two answers you could write for amount. If I, whatever form you prefer is what I said. Using any form you prefer. So I could write it out as 65 cents, or I could have wrote it out like this. 0.65. All right? Let's do the next one together too. All right, so we have 3 quarters, right? Each quarter is worth 25, so I can do 25 plus 25 plus 25. 3 quarters, so like a fraction, which is how much? What do you think, Soraya? Soraya. Soraya, right? Soraya. Soraya, yes. Sorry. 25. What's double 25? Yes. What's 50 plus 25? So do 50 plus 20. Yeah, so exactly. So right? I got 75. All right, so I'm going to write that out. How would you write that out? What's your preferred way of doing it, Mateo?
0.75.
Yeah, okay. Awesome. So let's do that one then. Make sure you put your dollar